Today's video, we're going to go back to something that we've talked about before. When we're grappling, we're learning to do jiu-jitsu, when it's kind of what we're in, we've got to make sure to have some wrestling skills. And we've talked about one of the first places that I believe shows true kind of return is in front headlock position, learning to navigate it both offensively and defensively. Today, we're going to look at the defensive side and kind of our two options, our sucker drag and our peek out, just from that front headlock position.
Okay, so that first position we're going to look at is maybe you're from turtle, you've recovered an escape and you've ended up on turtle, but nonetheless, he has my head and an arm, maybe just my head. Whatever arm is around my head, he wants my head under that side to choke me. Okay, so my baseline is I just want to move my head from one side to the other to start avoiding the choke. Just with that movement, I'm already starting to get out of the choke, and he has to counter. Good, now to add a few things, I'm gonna push in just a little to kind of get motion going, okay? He's not gonna let me push into him, and he kind of pushes back. Now I'm gonna step up with my outside foot. And this is gonna help me create torque and rotation. And I move my head to the other side. As I torque and rotate my knee to the ground, head moves to the other side, and I rotate hip to hip. Okay, so there's a lot of things I can do here, and we're just trying to do the motion first. The motion will get me out of it and make the other guy react. What happens is when I start reaching and controlling the elbow, if I don't do things correctly, like that gives him his counters. He hooks under my elbow, and that's a tough one. Okay, so same kind of thing here. If I start reaching here, a lot of times arm in happens, like arm in, and it makes it really tough. So we just want to do this out of motion, okay? So as I start to push in, you go ahead and pop up. Yeah, good. I start to push in. Now, if I can, if I could just push in and go and pass his guard and go to double leg, that's probably my first check. I would just drive up, get a hold of both legs, double leg, and pass his guard. But nonetheless, I start to drive in, and this guy doesn't want to let me. He's trying to set up his chokes. Step up, my head's out this side. I want to shift it to the other side. I rotate around this shoulder, and I like to keep my elbow in and get elbow control as I pass. Step, rotate. I have control of this elbow. Boom. And then I would, whatever my back take is. So I want to make sure that when he grabs my head and I start to move, that I'm going into him when I move my head. I'm not pulling my head out and rotating and circling away from him. I'm actually moving my head and spiraling in and closer to him, kind of driving through him. So he has my head, I push. When I move my head, and immediately I'm pushing into him as I rotate to his back. Okay, let's look at it one time from the front or the back, other way. And I just want to see, he wants my head under this side, so I kind of step out, elbow stays in, not out. That gives him his openings. Oh, elbow in, yes sir. Elbow in, elbow control. I step, I rotate around this shoulder. Okay, so the other position we look at from that front headlock position, it is where I've built up, or maybe I've passed the guard and they build up. Whatever it is, but this time they're going to chest wrap behind my elbows, and you'll see it a lot in the beginner classes, white belt, blue belt class, and even with strong opponents at higher levels it happens. Just kind of that body lock, and they're just going to put their hips on you heavy, and they're just kind of weighting you out and trying to weigh on you. So peek out is the next position, and I'm just trying to get out from under my opponent. So let's check it out. Okay, so we're going to show the peek out on air. It's a movement in your grappling drills that you can do on your own. So it's the same one. My hips come up, and now the problem with this position is all the weight's on my hands and my head is down. I have to get my hip and my butt under my head. I'm going to step up, sit my leg and my butt through until my hips are under my head. Okay, and then I would just turn and circle square. They're up. I would peek my head out and step, sit, elbow back, and rotate. Okay, so the same deal. This time he is wrapped around my chest. I can't sucker drag out. I can't do none of those things. So what we're going to do is we're going to build up and into him. And I like to even try to get a leg, okay? And we're going to sit out, one of the positions we learned from our wrestling basics. I sit out, I set my hips under my head goes up, my elbow kind of goes back. And now I'm in this S-sit position, hips up, and I turn and take it back. So getting bite on the leg isn't something that's necessary, but because a lot of times in our jiu-jitsu class, the guys really just hold on. They're kind of just holding on really tightly, and putting heavy weight on me. So all I need to do is peek my head out. I have to get on my toes to kind of. You can hear my voice change when I'm down here. I'm kind of straining and I'm holding all this weight. There's a point. Oh, there it is, and I kind of relax. So that's what we're looking for. I want to peek my head out one side. I want to sit my hip right under my head, kind of where my hand is. And he goes right. Okay, one time from this angle. And everything's the same. I'm dropping into him, popping my head out, and I'm really sitting my hips under. And then we'll talk about a few issues that happen. Head pops out, sit through, elbow back, take back. So next we're going to show a couple places where we sometimes mess up when we're peeking out. Same as we did in the sucker drag, right? Like reaching with our hands sometimes gets us in trouble, and sometimes we get too extended. Sometimes we don't hit our butt and get our hips under our head. So here's what that looks like. So I'd peek my head out, and maybe I don't get my butt under my head. And I get crushed. Okay, one of the other things to do is maybe I get too extended. And again, not good. Sometimes maybe we played sports younger, right? So I know we're athletes, okay? And you guys, once you kind of start getting in shape, you're gonna be able to do things a little quicker. And kind of the first thing people do when they're a little quicker and they're kind of excited about their athleticism is they don't hit their butt and they try to knee slide. It just doesn't work. It looks something like this. So we really want to avoid this. They try to go to their knee, and again, it just collapses me down. But maybe against a smaller, weaker opponent, I could hit that and I could spin and hit the corner. But you know, jiu-jitsu, we have to deal with the big guys in class, so I want to make sure that we're staying small. We're also going to add in where you're going to have this happen. They're going to hold on. And they're going to kind of flop over. It's kind of weird, but it does happen all the time. So I'm driving up. I sit through. I stay small. Boom. And that happens. All I'm going to do is, I'm okay with him holding on. He's going to be trying to do a lot. I'm going to squeeze my elbows down, collect up his legs, grip breaks, and shift to side control. Okay, so we talked about learning to navigate these front headlock positions, and this is your two techniques from the defensive side, the movement-based fundamentals of getting out of your guillotines, your front headlocks, and kind of that body wrap that you see all the time from Turtle. Hopefully you like it, give it a shot, and we'll see you on the mats next time.